So excited to be back again today, and I want to appreciate every one of you. Thank you for coming along on this journey. It's going to be an amazing night. We're going to learn, we're going to grow together, and I'm just excited for what the Holy Spirit will help us learn tonight. Please don't be shy to ask questions. Um, there is a poll at the beginning of this meeting that I'm going to launch in a minute, and I want you to answer the questions as honestly as you can. Um, Please, you can also send the link to someone who you think could be blessed by this seminar tonight. All right, let's get started. Please feel free to turn on your cameras as well, or if you're comfortable doing that. And if you have any questions, you can put it into the chat, and I'll take it as we go along. All right. Just let's say a word of prayer as we get started. Heavenly Father, we thank you for tonight. There is no wisdom except the one that you've given us. The Bible says we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. And we know that even in this area of our finances and managing our resources and our time and our giftings, it is you, oh God, who gives us the wisdom. And so we come tonight and we submit to you, Spirit of God. We ask that you will teach us by yourself. We ask that you will illuminate our minds, open up our hearts, help us to grasp the wisdom in what is being taught tonight, and help us to be doers of what we have learned as well. We give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. God bless you. So I'm going to share the poll with you now, and you can answer the questions. Just let me know if everybody's got it. Just give me a thumbs up. Can we all see the poll?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. All righty. So just give us a minute or so to put in our answers. Once we're done, just give me a thumbs up. Let me know that we're done. Yep. All right, I'm gonna get going on. Awesome. Thank you, Monique. Right. Let me just take a minute to introduce myself. I mean, we all know each other, but for the sake of the recording and for those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Lola Oyebola. I'm a trained Ramsey Solutions financial coach. I'm also a pastor at Nations Lighthouse Church. I'm the founder of Adu's Advantage Consulting, which is a coaching business that seeks to educate clients on the smartest and the most practical ways to manage their money so they can live their best life. I'm also the convener of the Mustard Seed Wealth Network, which is a platform created to educate and empower individuals by teaching them tested and trusted principles on saving, investing, and stewardship of their God-given resources. So on this platform, that's the crux of what we're going to be learning, and it's a lifelong journey. We're going to be coming together periodically to share in the wisdom that God has given us. And please, please let us remember that it's not so much about what we hear, it's about how much of it we can implement. That's where we're going to see the result. As a disclaimer, I'm a financial coach. I serve as a guide. For all investment decisions, please consult with your trusted financial advisor or with your lawyer or with your accountant. I give recommendations, I teach, but for your personal decision making, please verify, cross-check with your financial advisor. I want to quickly share with us this scripture that the Holy Ghost put in my heart this morning as I was thinking and meditating on what I was going to talk about. And it reminded me of this scripture. In the morning, in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 6, it says, "In the morning sow your seed, and at evening do not let your hand rest, because you don't know which will succeed, whether one or the other, or if both of them will be equally good." Scripture is saying, invest, do things that would add value to your life, and don't do just one thing. You can do several things because the Bible says you don't know which one will succeed, or whether both of them will succeed, or whether three of them will succeed. But don't withhold your hand from doing something. Sow your seed, invest, save, plan for the future, invest in yourself, grow yourself, deploy the seeds and the giftings God has given you, and see where it takes you. Bible says, because you don't know whether one will succeed or both of them will be equally good. So that is a wisdom nugget for us to take to heart tonight. Okay. And then I wanted to share with us some of the stats that I see out there that helps us understand the urgency of why we need to start thinking about our future, our retirement, our investing, and our saving. It says 66% of Canadians are concerned that they have underestimated how much they will need in retirement. More than half, 57% of unretired Canadians say they feel unprepared for retirement. So half of us in Canada don't think we're prepared, not confident that we're prepared for retirement, not confident that we're doing the things that will get us to that place where we are prepared for retirement, which is not such a good stat. It says 4 in 10 Canadians have less than 5,000 in their savings account, and almost a quarter have no savings at all. Let's look at that again. 4 in 10 Canadians have less than $5,000 in savings, and almost a quarter have no savings at all. Another interesting stat that I found is 49% of unretired Canadians, which is you and I, haven't set aside any money for retirement in the last year. A growing number of homeowners plan to rely on the sale of their home to set themselves up for retirement. So 42% are counting on their home being the thing that's going to bankroll their retirement. Very interesting stat. There's another one that says 57% of women rank affording day to day as their top financial priority compared to 49% of men. So while the top priority for men is saving for retirement, so men, 51% of men are thinking about retirement and saving towards retirement, while 57% of women are saying, what's important to me right now is today, from day to day, about how I'm going to survive, how I'm going to take care of my children, how I'm going to, put food on the table. And so a lot of women, we put retirement to the back burner. It's not top of mind. It's not priority for us as much as it is for men. And women are significantly more likely to feel anxious, fearful, frustrated, and sad because of their financial situation. So all those emotions that I talked about the last time we met, there's the anger, there's the frustration, there's the fear, there's the anxiety because we don't feel like we have enough saved. We don't feel like we are prepared, adequately prepared for the future. And that's not the will of God for us. That's not God's plan for us either. I just shared that scripture. The Bible is saying that prepare, sow here, don't let your hand rest. Make sure you're thinking about the future because you don't know which of your endeavors will bring forth good fruit. So in essence, the Bible is saying diversify your investments. Isn't that interesting? That the Bible is actually one of the key places you can go to learn about being a good steward of God's resources. Wealth building. Let's talk about that. In the beginning of your wealth journey, it doesn't matter how much you save. What's important is for us to get started. It's for you to get started and to start building that habit of putting something aside every chance you get, every opportunity you have. Once that paycheck hits your bank account, it's automatically deposited in your savings account, in your retirement account, in all the other avenues that you have for putting money away. I've said it before. Set it on auto so you don't have to think about it. There is no temptation to spend it. Once money hits your account, it goes to the places where it needs to go. So what matters is building a habit. Building that muscle is like going to the gym. You're training your muscle in saving. Okay? In its simplest form, wealth building involves spending less than you earn and investing your money so it will grow over time. So you're spending less than you earn. Spending less than you earn. There's somebody that said that North Americans have learned so much how to spend, but know so little about how to save. I don't know whether that's a factual statement, but a lot of us are quickly, naturally we have that tendency to want to spend. Once money comes into our hands, we're thinking, and the society is built in such a way that they make it easy for us to spend. They draw us into that mindset where we think that we have to get a new this, a new that, a new model this, a new model that. We're always thinking, oh, new, 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 new. And the things that we count as old are things that people cherish so much in other nations because they're not as affluent as we are in North America. But the affluence in this society, most of it is a mirage. Most of it is smoke screens. It's not really affluence because most of it is funded by debt. Most of it is funded by debt. So we have to be careful when we think, oh, we want to look like someone, we want to be like someone. And we're forgetting that we've lost an opportunity to save for our future. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Warren Buffett said that. And that's what he means by that is passive income. How your money can make money on your money. How you can make money even while you're sleeping, your money is working for you. That's a beautiful place to be. And as you get older, you want more of your money to be making money for you. You want more of your money to be working for you while you start to wind down. That's what investing can do for us. So managing money is a learned skill that is less about the math and more about the concepts and the principles. It's like the analogy between driving and being a mechanic. Let me explain that. So when we talk about principles, right, and concepts, and then the math of it, you don't have to be a brainiac when it comes to math. You don't have to be, a math nerd. You don't have to be a mathematician to be able to handle your finances and manage it properly and grow it and invest it. What you need to know are the principles, the foundational truths, how the system works and how you can make it work for you. That's what this whole platform is about, and that's what I want to teach you. It doesn't mean you have to be a math nerd. I'm not a math nerd either. I've never liked math. In fact, it was my worst subject in school. I hated it, and I just passed, by the skin of my teeth. I'm not a mathematician, but the concepts and the principles are things that anybody can learn. So it's like you learn how to drive, right? The first few times you took a lesson, somebody taught you, or you went to a driving school, and the first few times you got behind the wheel was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm going to crash this car. Lots of fear, lots of anxiety, lots of unknowns. But then you started getting more comfortable, and then now you do it. It's a learned skill. You don't have to think about it. You just get behind your car and you drive. But does that mean you know anything about the engine of the car? Like some of us don't even know how to open the hood of the car. Like that's how ignorant we are about vehicles. I don't know anything about a vehicle apart from putting a washer fluid in it. I don't know much about a vehicle, but I know how to drive. And that's the same thing with your finances. You just need to know the principles. And once you know those principles, you can put them to work for you. All right. Most of the math will be done by calculators and the experts. They can do the math. You just know the principles and work the principles. Look at this picture. It's Michelle when she was a little girl, and that's Michelle when she's a grown woman. So your mindset about wealth building has to see a clear picture of you today and a picture of the future you. So think of yourself 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Is that older you going to be happy with what the younger you did? How you prepared, how you set the stage, how you got things together, thinking of the you that's going to come in 20 to 30 years' time. So your mindset has to be thinking about the future. Don't live for today alone. Don't say, oh, tomorrow will take care of itself. Oh, whatever will happen. Or I'm going to wing it. Or, I'm going to say prayer and God is going to hear me. But God himself has set principles in place. And that's why even as Christians, a lot of us are frustrated with our finances and we're thinking God is not helping us or God is not answering our prayer. It's not really that. It's because we haven't learned the principles and the concepts. We haven't gained wisdom. Bible says, above all things, above all thy getting, get wisdom. Get wisdom. And so be thinking about the future you when you make decisions today. If you have your phones with you, I want you to quickly go to this website. You can just type it in on your search on your Google. Just type in Sun Life tools and resources. Just type it into your search and go there. I want to quickly show you something. that will help us to kind of gauge where we are. So just type in Sun Life. I'm typing it on my phone right now. Sun Life tools and resources. Just a quick exercise for us. Tools and calculators. If you're there, just give me a thumbs up. Let me make sure that we're all on the same page. Are we there? Any of us got there? Tools and calculators, Sun Life tools and calculators. All right, Nicole's there. Okay, so now go to retirement savings calculator. See if you can click on that. Click on retirement savings. And then just put in your age and the age you want to retire. Just do the quick math. The calculators are there to help you. You just put in the numbers. Put in your current income, how much you will need in retirement, annually. So if, for instance, by the time you retire, you're gonna need what, 50,000 a year, just put that in there. And then put in what you've saved so far, if you have any savings. If you haven't gotten any savings, just leave those as zero. And then at the end, it's gonna calculate for you how much you're going to need in retirement. It's a very beautiful calculator. I love it. So if any of us are there, let me know. Just give us a few seconds, because I want this to be as practical as possible. I want us to be engaged. Or anybody got to the end? Anybody got their results? You can unmute yourself as well if you want to chip in.
I'm on this one. This part?
Are you doing the retirement calculator?
I went to tools and resources.
Right. So just click on retirement calculator or retirement savings.
I don't see that. Tools and resources comes up.
So are you on the Sun Life website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you see tools and calculators at the top?
Scroll all the way down the page.
No, not all the way down. The very first heading there says retirement savings calculator. It says it takes about 2 minutes, and then you click on retirement savings.
I
See that?
how practicing mindfulness, net worth calculator, that one? No? Tools and calculators, tools and
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah, tools and calculators.
Yep, okay.
Do you see retirement savings
Now
highlighted?
Okay, there it is. Yep.
Okay. So you just put in the numbers and then it helps you calculate.
Click on retirement savings.
Yes.
Okay.
And then just put in all your values. And then it should
Did you
help
want
you.
to retire?
Thank you, Krishna. I see that you put it in the chat box there. Thank you. Righty. Okay, so while we're doing that, I would go back. Okay. So anyway, it's just, there are other calculators there as well. There is calculator for mortgage calculators, life expectancy. Interesting one is life expectancy calculator. There is an RRSP calculator, CPP and QPP calculator. So it's a very beautiful tool. And what I do is, every couple of years I go in there, I use the retirement savings calculator to see where I am and see what the trajectory is, whether I'm tracking in the right direction. So you can use it as many times as you want. Mel says, this makes me feel anxiety, like I'm not making enough money. Well, that's what it does, though. It's not supposed to make you feel anxious. It's supposed to give you knowledge of where you are and how much you're gonna need. And that's why I said at the beginning of this seminar, I said what's going on. It says more than 57% of Canadians don't think they're ready for retirement, don't think they're saving enough for retirement. Those numbers that it's giving you is not set in stone. It depends on, how frugal you are. It depends on, what kind of lifestyle you choose in retirement, but it gives you like an idea of what you're going to need for retirement. Okay, so I don't want you to feel anxious. I just want you to use it as a planning tool. That's what they're meant for. Okay. I'm going to proceed. I'm going to let us. There's something blocking my.
3 times your salary.
So I said investing is a vital component of reaching a level of financial freedom. So, like we said, when Mel was saying that these numbers the numbers look big, they look gigantic. But the thing that can help us get there is investing. That's the way to get to that goal, to that number. They call it the magic number, the number that you need to have ready for retirement. But the way we make money, our dollars and cents are not going to get us there. Just, putting money in a savings account is not going to get you there. That money has to be invested and growing at a rate of maybe 8 to 10% a year for you to have that compounding effect. And then your money starts to grow. And the beautiful thing is your money is going to double every 10 years. Almost every 10 years, your money that you've invested is going to double. So let's say you started, with 50,000. In 10 years, you're going to have 100,000. In another 10 years, that 100,000 will become 200,000. And then another 10, the 200 becomes 400. That's how people get to that huge number at the end of retirement, because they've been investing. And that money is growing, and the money, like I said, the money is making more money even while you're sleeping. So investing is a vital component of reaching that financial freedom that we're talking about. And here it says only 19% of women feel confident selecting investments. Only 19. And it's so interesting that this is the case, because most women outlive their husbands. Most women live longer than their husbands. And so they will be left to manage all that finances that they never showed interest in, or not, they were not interested in at the beginning. Now they're tasked with taking care of all that money. And so we need to be invested. We need to see it as, it's not just my husband's job. It's not just my husband's, he's not the only one interested in it. You should be interested in the finances. He should be interested in the finances. Both of you should be interested in the finances. And if you're single, then you as well, you need to say, I need to know what my money is doing. I need to educate myself on how this investing thing works.
Sorry, one quick question to interrupt, Professor
Mm-hmm.
Lola. So
Yeah.
you said if you have 50,000 saved in 10 years from that, you should have 100K,
Yeah,
and then 100K turn into 200K another 10 years?
right.
Okay.
So your money should kind of double. You should about double every 10 years. That's the approximate, based on stats and history and what's known in terms of investing. So by age 30, this is also to give us a guideline. Now, I'm not knocking anybody down. I'm not even here either, but this is the goal for us to be able to reach that beautiful place and do whatever we want to do when we're retired. We're not, working at the age of 70 and still trying to pay the bills. That's not what we want. It says by the age of 30, you should have an equivalent of your salary saved. So let's say you make 40,000 a year. By the time you're graduated from university or college and you've worked a couple of years, you should have an equivalent of one year salary saved. By the time you're 40, you should have 3 times your salary saved. I mean, by the time I was 40, I was just waking up to to what investing was. I didn't even know, I didn't even know any of that. So by 40, this was too late for me as well. I mean, I wasn't even, I was still living my life, doing my thing. By the time you're 50, it says you should have 6 times your salary saved. Now, some of us can have that locked up in our homes, in the equity in our homes. So it's not just all money in the bank. It could also be your total net worth, right? But we'll talk about that later. And by age 65, you should have 10 times your salary saved, which is basically your retirement income. Somebody's asking, is this the yearly income? Tosin, what do you mean by that? What number are you
No,
referring to?
no. It was just before you started to explain. I was just reading on the investing thing, and I wanted to ensure it was the yearly income you were
Okay,
referring to. Yeah.
good. All right.
So, for example, if you make 60,000, if you're 50, it should be 60,000 times 6,
Yes. Yes.
and then your goal times 10 for 65. Okay.
So investment diversification is important when we're talking about investing. Okay. So you can't have all your investments and the only investment you have is your house. And that's all there is. Because if the market goes down, let's say there is a housing crisis or something like that, then it's very risky to have all your investment in one thing. Diversification is very key to how you invest and save for the future.
Mhm.
Diversification means, okay, yes, I have some money in my home equity. That is, my home is part of my portfolio. Then I have stocks. Then I have mutual funds. And I have my RRSP. I have my TFSA. I have my regular savings and a CD or a money market, right? Then you can also, some people buy gold, some people buy crypto. There's all kinds of ways to diversify, but for you to have more than 50% of your assets in one class is very risky. So that's why we talk about mitigating the risk of investment. So when we talk about asset classes, we're talking about the different eggs you have in your investment basket. Okay, so you have your real estate, you have your stocks, you have your bonds, cash, precious metals, cryptocurrency. It doesn't mean you have precious metals under your bed. It just means you're investing in it on the stock market, okay? Through your mutual funds, um, you can have all these things rolled into your investing. Even real estate, some people don't want to invest in real estate, like active real estate, but you can do passive real estate, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then you every time you go to a financial advisor and you say, okay, I want to open an investment account, they're going to ask you about your risk profile. What does that mean? It means how much risk do you want to take with your money? And that depends on how old you are. The younger you are when you start investing, you can take on more risk because you have enough time for that money to do the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. You have enough time runway, right? But by the time you're 50, you're 60, you don't want your money to be exposed to too much risk because the marketplace is a risky place. I was just the last 3 days because of the tariffs and everything. I was looking at at our investments, and I just saw the numbers, going like this. I'm like, what's going on? And it's because of the uncertainty in the market. Like everybody's like, okay, where are we going? What's going on? But if you're smart and you're a long-time investor, you don't care about that. You just keep doing what you're doing. Take your eye off all that, roller coaster ride. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? But if you're a retiree who is depending on that portfolio for your monthly income, you're going to be really worried. So the risk profile for you depends on your age. And risk profile meaning how much risk are you willing to take on with your investing? Okay, do you want to be conservative? Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to be balanced? That's how you decide. And for me, your personality also matters, because for me, I like to take a little bit of risk, but not much of a risk. So I would say I'm more of a balanced investor. Some people, they just like the adrenaline, they like the risk, and they go all in. And obviously, it could go right or wrong. Okay. And if you have any questions, just put your hands up and let me know. I can stop and take your questions. Investment type. So you have the single stock. So if you go on the stock market, you could say, okay, I want to buy the stock of Walmart. That's a single stock. And when you buy the stock of Walmart, that means you own a tiny little bit of Walmart. And what that does is it gives you ownership in that company. And it was a lady that I was listening to the other day. She said, you know what? If I want to buy something for myself, well, that's her philosophy. It helps her, get thinking about investing. She said, if I want to buy something for myself, I always think, can I invest in that company? So if I want to buy a dress from Gap or from Tommy, yeah, whatever, she would be like, oh, I'm going to invest. Maybe. Can I think about investing in that company as opposed to just going and buying their stuff? I was telling my son the other day, I said, the amount of McDonald's that you like, you might as well buy the stock. You're making them rich, It was just a joke, but I tell myself that too. I'm like, the amount of, teas I buy from Tim's, I might as well own half of the company, right? So every time we're spending money, let's think at the back of our minds, okay, we're making somebody wealthy, which is nothing wrong with that. But can you also do something that makes you wealthy, that grows your wealth? So single stocks are that. And then mutual funds are a combination of different kinds of stocks put together to create a portfolio. And those help you diversify risk. So instead of owning a single stock, so if you buy all the stock of Walmart, if anything happens to Walmart, you're in trouble. But if you buy a mutual fund, it has Walmart, it has Target, it has Macy's, it has all those stocks rolled into it. So it makes it less risky, and it makes it, all the profits from those companies are funneled into dividends that are paid into the mutual fund. Okay. And then the ETFs, the exchange traded funds, are also like little bits of different companies put together. So they're less risky than a single stock. And some investors will tell you, don't even invest in single stocks, just buy mutual funds or exchange traded funds. But that's up to you. It's a recommendation. I do a little bit of single stocks, not much, but I like, for instance, I bought the stock of Shopify. I don't know if we know Shopify. I bought the stock during just after COVID. At that time, that stock had been beaten down, like it was way down there. And I just bought a few, not much, just a little. And I'm looking at the stock today, and I'm like, it's more than 200% appreciation. And I keep smiling every time I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, should I cash in? Should I sell it? Like, no, I'll keep riding the wave, right? But that's what single stocks can do for you. They can, if they really appreciate and you buy it at the right time, you could be looking at a beautiful appreciation of your investment. But if you buy it at the wrong time too, you could lose quite a sizable amount of money. And so that's the risk of the market.
So it's
And you can never time the market. Nobody will tell you can time the market. You cannot. No matter how smart you are, you cannot. It's just a risk that you take. And so you diversify your risk. So select your goals for your portfolio. Now, do you have money, different parts of money? So for me, I have money that's short term. So those will be your emergency fund. So you don't put that in the stock market because it's money that you're going to need, within a month, within 2 months, within 6 months, within a year. You don't put those in the stock market. You put those in a savings account that generates interest, or a CD, a 3-month CD, a 6-month CD, or a money market, because you want your money liquid. You want it accessible anytime you need it. But for the longer term investing, like you're saving for retirement in an RRSP or a TFSA, you can invest those. You shouldn't put those in a savings account because it's not going to do anything for you. You want your money to grow. So you should be investing those kinds of money in the stock market. Now, decide if you're going to be active or passive in the management or a mix of both. What I mean by that is, are you going to give your money to an investment firm and a manager to help you manage it? Or are you going to invest it for yourself? Are you going to manage it yourself? You could also do a mix of both. And then monitor the ongoing performance of your portfolio. Now, if you're in a company retirement, like a pension fund or a defined benefit, you should still know what's going on with your money, right? They don't just take the money out of your income every month and you don't even know what the money is invested in. You don't know how it's doing, the performance, the yield. You don't know any of that. You don't even open your statement. That's not good enough. You should be opening your statements. You should be reading them. You should be seeing, okay, what's the performance in the last year? What's the performance in the last 3 years? Is it tracking? Because this is money that you're going to need and you're going to depend on when you're older. Is it growing as it should? I remember full disclosure, I was with we were with Edward Jones years back. And we had this portfolio with Edward Jones, and I kept looking at it. I'm not saying Edward Jones is anything wrong with him, but from my experience, we didn't see our money growing, but their management fees were pretty high at that time. I'm sure management fees have come down over the years, but in Canada, we still pay quite a steep management fee for investing. And so I kept an eye on it, and I was like, okay, we're investing, but we don't see any growth. So, and you can't judge that in 1 year or 2 years. You need at least 3 years to see what your money is doing before you say, oh, I'm going to move my money somewhere else. So in 3 years, there was still nothing going on with our investing. It was like nothing, no growth, almost less than 1%. In fact, the money that the manager was taking was was more than any growth we were seeing in the investment. And so we decided, okay, you know what? We're moving from this company to another company. And that was a decision that we made for ourselves. But so my point being, pay attention to what your money is doing. Yes, you're investing, but are you paying attention to it to see how well it's doing? What amount do you want to start with? So for some of us, we might feel, okay, I'm already 40. I haven't done anything. I haven't started investing. Don't be intimidated. Don't be like a deer in headlights. You just have to get started. And it's never too late to get started. okay? Even if it's, oh, $40 a month, I'm going to start putting this into my RRSP. Once you find a company that you want to go with, and just put it on auto and let it go do its thing. Just don't say, oh, I'm going to put it off one more year. I don't want you to do that. I plead with you. From the moment you hear this, if you haven't started saving for retirement, just however little it is. And a lot of companies now have made it so easy that the entry point is, for many companies, is like $100. With $100, you can get started. As long as you set it on auto and that money starts to go into your retirement savings, you're on your way. You're getting started. Okay. So how much time do you also consider how much time you have to invest? Like I said, your money grows, like kind of doubles every 10 years. And with that calculator that I showed us in Sun Life, the Sun Life calculator, you can kind of tweak the numbers. If you add a little bit more, add like $50 more, it will show you how much more you would save by the time you're 65. Or you add another, $100. So it kind of helps you plan how much you need to be investing towards your retirement. And then types of retirement investing. I think if somebody has a question, let me just take 1 second. What percentage per month for investing is good? What percentage per month? You mean a percentage of your income that you should be saving every month?
Yeah, because it's not on this sheet. Remember those sheets you gave us? Recommended percentages?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Housing, it's not on here.
Well, the rule of thumb is 15% of your gross income.
15?
Yeah. Now, if you can do more, that's fantastic. But the baseline should be 15% of your gross. Should be going every month towards the different kinds of savings. So you don't have to be going to one pot. It can be going into the different, like we talked about earlier. But 15% is your minimum. So types of retirement investing. First, home savings account, which the government set up was it last year or a year before? Fairly new account to help first-time home buyers to save something towards their down payment. And then you have the registered disability savings plan for those who have maybe a child that has a disability and you want to save for their future care. We have the defined benefit pension plan. We also have the RESP, the spousal RRSP. Now, if you're married and your husband has a higher income, this spousal RRSP is a beautiful tool because he gets to save taxes while he's funding your retirement account. So that's why it's called the spousal RRSP. It helps the higher income partner, could be the wife or the husband, to save money for the spouse while they also save on taxes. So I love that tool. And then you have the tax-free savings plan, which is also a fantastic tool because you put money in there post-tax, right? So it's money that's already been taxed. But when you put it in, it starts to grow. When you take it out, you don't pay any taxes on it because you've already, you pay tax on the front end, if it makes sense. And then the registered education savings plan obviously is for your children. And the earlier you want to get started on that, the better. So if you have a kid or two kids, you can open a plan that is for both kids, or you could open a plan that is separate for each child. The kind we opened was like a one pot for both kids. So the advisor was kind of saying, okay, if one child decided they don't want to go to university, the other child can easily use it, or both of them can use it either way. So then you have the registered retirement income fund, which is the one that you now put all your RRSP into once you turn 71. This is the account that will now be funding your retirement. That's why it's called the registered retirement income fund. So that is for those who are in retirement. Now, the defined benefit pension plan are for those who their company funds their retirement savings. And some of them, they match. If you have a company who is matching your retirement savings, I beg you, please, you want to make sure you're maxing out the match. So if your company says, oh, we're going to give you for, 5% match, make sure you're contributing at least 5% so you can get the full match. Otherwise, it's like throwing money away. You're getting free money to save towards your retirement. I would take it in a heartbeat. And it's only about, 5% of Canadians that have this kind of a benefit. So if you have a benefit like this through your employer, please make sure that you are fully invested in it. Actively manage investing. So I talked about investing for yourself. So those are the DIY investing. You do it yourself, or you invest through a firm, a company. However you want to do it, I would advise that you still have something that's actively managed. The reason why is these are professionals who know what they're doing, and the fact that you send the money there automatically, sometimes it takes the power out of your hands, and you're not, I remember when I first started investing, I said I'll do it myself, and then I set it on auto, but in a month where I don't feel like, oh, I don't think I can afford it this month, I go into my banking app and I just, take the auto thing off. That way, that month I'm not going to be investing because I feel like, oh, I can't afford it. But when I put the money with a managed company, because they do the auto withdrawal themselves, that takes the power out of my hands, and so I make it work. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to call them and then fill out a form and ask them to stop the payments. No, it's just too much work. So I make it work because the power has been taken out of my hands. So I feel like for some of us who may be struggling with, getting it going, if you go with actively managed, that means you put your money with an investment firm. They will manage it for you. They will take the money out of they will do the auto, the direct deposit every month, and you don't even have to think about it. The only thing I want you to pay attention to is how is the fund performing, and know the fees that you're paying. Ask questions about the fees. What are your fees? What do you charge? And they have to disclose all those things. In fact, now on your statement, you're going to see everything spelled out. The fees are there. And if the fees are more than 1% or 1.2%, I will find a company that charges less. 1.2% is up there, but it's the max I would pay for someone helping me to manage my money. Okay, if it starts to go beyond above that, then I think is a little bit expensive. Okay. So active management includes, they offer you mutual funds, a mix of exchange traded funds, as well as a different kinds of portfolios. So you can have private equity, real estate holdings, and the advisors will help you choose whether you want to be aggressive, you want to be conservative, or you want to be balanced. They will help you choose based on the questions they ask you, what kind of investing you want to do. Like I said, the management fees are charged based on the overall value of your portfolio. So people that have like 500,000 in their investments accounts, they will pay slightly less fees than somebody who has like 100,000 in their investment account. But the average fees is around 1.2 to 2% in Canada. Okay, so ask questions about this. It's very important. I remember the other day I was having a conversation with our financial advisor, and he was saying, "Oh, do you want to move some of your funds to um, they call them some kind of advisor, a special kind of advisor in their company." And I said, "What are the fees?" He said 1.6%. I said, "Absolutely not. I'll stay right where I am. I don't want to pay 1.6%." And there's really nothing they're doing that I find that the person that's charging 1.2% can't do. It's just more expensive. Now the self-managed, meaning you take your money, you go to a company like Questrade or Qtrade, and you do your own investing. So you pick your own stocks, you pick your own mutual funds, you pick the portfolio you want, and you manage it yourself. You do the buying of the stock, you do the selling of the stock, and they usually charge you like a minimal fee for those transactions. So that's self-managed investing. And I enjoy it. If you don't know anything about it, you can learn about it. You can start with a small portfolio and start to grow your interest in that way. And throughout COVID, I did a lot of that because we were sitting at home anyways. And I found it very interesting to just learn about, you know, investing in this way. And so if you have a little bit of money to burn, what I mean by that is maybe whatever amount you feel like, okay, I can play with this money and it's not going to hurt me. It's not going to do damage to my finances, and start to learn how to pick stocks, how to pick mutual funds, and how to invest for yourself. It's a lot of reading, it's a lot of, learning, but it's worth it if you enjoy it. Now, if this is not for you, then it's not for you. Okay. But the benefit is you have total control. There's almost no fees except for some platforms have almost no fees, and it grows your knowledge about investing. So for this DIY investing, you choose your platform. What's the goal? Am I saving for retirement? Am I saving just an individual account? Determine your risk tolerance, like I said, and then consider the trading costs. And these are the platforms that I've used over the years that I can vouch for. I love them. The fees are, Questrade has beautiful fee structure where a lot of their stocks and mutual funds almost come with no fees. But when you trade them, obviously you're going to pay a little bit of fees. I think it's $5.95 if you want to trade, if you want to sell a stock. But when you're buying it, most of them don't charge you anything for buying. Qtrade has their fees are $8.95 per trade. And so there's a little bit more expensive, but I love their teaching tools, their research tools, and their teaching tools are really, really quite developed. So I love them for that. Wealthsimple is really fancy, more techy for the younger ones. And CI Direct is also really good. They have what I mean by robo is they have this selected portfolios that are already set for those that I want to be aggressive, for those that I want to be balanced, and for those that want to be conservative. They have those funds already picked out for you. So you just say, okay, I want a conservative portfolio. And you just put your money in that every month and they just invest it for you. And their advisors are pretty easy to reach. So you have a question, you just type it into the chat and somebody reaches out to you within a few hours. So CI Direct Investing is good for that. So you can take a look at any one of these and if you're interested in self-investing.
Is there minimal investments with each of these?
Qtrade is $100.
So sorry, which one?
Qtrade,
Oh,
Questrade. Sorry,
yeah.
Questrade is $100.
Okay.
Qtrade as well is $100. I think CI Direct is $1,000.
Okay.
But most of them is between $100 and $1,000.
Okay, good.
So not too much
Mhm.
to get started. But I really love Questrade. It's really easy to use, and the fees are very minimal, which is important when you start to build your portfolio. You don't want to pay too much in terms of fees. Okay, any question? Okay, somebody has a question. Simple does a one-time 2% match if you move your RRSP to their account. See? So they're giving you incentive to move your money. They give you a one-time 2% match if you move your RSP to their account. Thank you, Tosin. That's a good tip. So if you want to move your RSP maybe from a bank to Wealthsimple, you can also get that 2% match. And some of them pay your transfer fees as well.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's also good thing to know.
And what are your thoughts on self-directed RSPs?
Self-directed RSPs, I have a mix of both. Like I said, I have self-directed and I also have the actively managed. And it's funny, right? Because I'm not an expert. The actively managed is doing slightly better than mine. And so that kind of spurs me to like, oh, what is he doing that I'm not doing? And I see that the reason why he's doing way better is because, like I said, they take that money every month and they can invest it, for me. But I on my portfolio, I put money whenever I feel like it. So I'm not catching all the highs and lows of the market. So that consistency is very important. If you want to do exclusively exclusively DIY, then you have to be consistent. So every month you're investing, every month you're buying. Okay, and don't do too much selling. Selling is wasteful because you sell in a panic. You see the market going down and your brain is going into overdrive. You're like, oh, I need to sell this. No, just let your money do what it wants to do. It's going to be up today, down tomorrow, up today, down tomorrow. But the trajectory over the years is that it's going to go up.
How much time
Okay?
per week do you spend managing that?
How much time do I spend managing it?
Mhm.
I go there once a day.
Okay.
So early in the morning, I go see what the markets are doing. Um, if I want to make a trade, I do that, and then just see how things are going. But really, I enjoy it. I love it. So if you don't have a knack for that, then just let somebody else do the work for you. Somebody says they're using AI for investing. Yeah, no, they have a they do use AI. They have their trained robots that kind of crunch all the numbers. Like I said, a lot of learning you're going to do with finances is about principles and concepts. The math, others will do that for you. Others will take care of that. So those numbers that they're crunching for you, they've already done the math. They've put in all the stats. They know how things work. So yes, there is a bit of AI in that. It's the robo investing, but I've tried it before with with CI investing. I did their robo investing for about 4 or 5 years, and I had beautiful returns with it. I just chose my portfolio whether I wanted, a conservative or a balanced or an aggressive. And every month the money was going and they were investing it for me. And it did really well. So like I said, it's your choice. You can choose which direction you want to go. I'm interested in starting my investment plan. Is there someone you can refer? Okay, we can talk about that, Nicole, after we're done.
I have a question.
Sir, somebody has a question?
I do. So if
Oh,
you're
Stu.
so if you have PMLs set up, private money lending, and you're gaining residuals. So you said of that residual that I'm getting, what percentage of that do I put back in and where?
So you're getting a residual from your investments in the private money lending.
I have a private money lending set up. So
Okay.
I get my residual. So what
Mhm.
percentage of that residual?
Do you want to put back into investing?
Yeah, and where do I put it?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. How diversified are you? Now, you have to constantly look at the balance of everything you have. You don't want too much of it in one thing. So if, for instance, you have 20% invested in this residual or this private lending, you don't want to keep putting more into it, then it's going to be top heavy. So if you say, okay, I'm not going to put more than 20% in this portfolio, once it's 20%, then I'm going to put my money into something else. Do you understand?
So
So
not more
you,
than 20% goes back in, okay, so of that residual that comes monthly, I take 20% of that and put it somewhere else?
no, the total value
Okay.
of that account, you decide. If you say, I don't want it more than 20%, once the top line, the total value of everything you have in that private lending account, if it's more than 20% of your overall investment,
Right. No, it's not.
okay. So but that's your decision though. If you say I don't want more than 20% in that portfolio, then once it hits that 20% mark, you're going to take any money coming in, any residual income coming in, and put it somewhere else, right? You could put it in REITs, you could put it
Yes.
in mutual funds, you could put it in CDs, whatever you want to choose to do with it, right? But you don't want to be too invested in one thing. So all your growth is in one area, because if anything happens to that particular portfolio, then it's the risk is too much. Okay. So RRSPs versus TFSA. How many of us have both? And you're considering which one should I be putting more money in for my retirement? Obviously, there's a maximum contribution for both of them, and you need to check your notice of assessment every year to see how much room you have to contribute to your TFSA and your RRSP. So the government will tell you how much room you have to contribute to this account. The other day, I wanted to put some money in my TFSA, and I called the CRA because I didn't know how much room I had. And so once you give them your number, they just do the math and they tell you, okay, this is how much you can contribute, like a lump sum maximum. If you've never contributed, they can crunch all the numbers and tell you, okay, this is how much maximum you can put in there. Because if you put more than that, they're going to be charging you interest daily on the over contribution. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you know how much room you have. So your RRSP is money that you put into your savings or your retirement savings pre-tax, meaning that they take the money, you invest it in your income, in your savings, and it's not taxed at that point. Okay? But TFSA is money that's already been taxed. It's your net income that you're taking from that and investing in your TFSA. RSP is gross. And that's why they don't tax you until you take the money out. So the money has time to grow, and you get the tax credit every time you file your taxes at the end of the year. Okay, so that makes it really nice for the RSP. Well, if you look at this math, look at the math. If, let's say, Susie put 6,000 in an RSP and 6,000 in a TFSA, she pays zero tax on the 6,000 in the RSP because, like I said, it's your gross. It's not taxed when you put it into the account. But for the TFSA, you've already paid tax on it, like on today, before you can put it in the TFSA. So she has to pay $1,800 in taxes before she can get that 6,000. And then the net that she's going to put into her TFSA is 4,200. Do we get it? Are we following along? After 20 years, that 6,000 has grown to 19,000 based on 6% rate of return. But in the TFSA, she has 13,000. Why? Because she could only invest 4,200 because she had to pay the tax up front. Now, when she now gets to retirement and she says, oh, I want to take my money out, the RRSP will now say, okay, it's time to pay the taxes on this money. So they tax her 45%. Let's say her tax bracket is 45%. Because sometimes people say, oh, by the time you retire, you'll have hit a higher tax bracket, and so you pay more taxes. So she pays 8,000 in taxes, and her net gain is 10,000. But the net gain on the TFSA is 13,000 because you paid your taxes at the beginning. And so that's the benefit of both of them, where you have to consider if you're going to end up in a higher tax bracket by the time you retire, you want to be putting more money in the TFSA. If you think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket by the time you retire, then you can put money in the RSP, or you can do both. So put that in mind. Tax is very important when we're investing. You want to know what the implications are for the taxes that you're going to pay. Okay, we're almost there. 10 more minutes, and then throw the floor open if anybody else has a question. In the year you turn 71 years old, you would have to choose what to do with your RRSP. So do you want to take everything out and pay the taxes? You want to transfer it to the registered retirement income fund where they pay you like a yearly income, or you can purchase an annuity. And this is very important. Please, please, I recommend don't go taking money out of your RRSP before you reach retirement age. Find another way of getting the money you need. Don't go dipping into the RRSP early. It's just not worth it. Why? Because the taxes it's like giving the CRA all your money, all the hard-earned money, paying 40% tax on something that you worked hard to save. Look at it. If you're borrowing 5%, you're going to pay a 10% penalty. Plus, you have to add that money to your income at the end of the year. Then you pay another tax on that. You're going to pay your income tax on that money you withdrew. Then you pay a 10% penalty for taking the money out early. If you're taking between 5 and 15,000, the penalty goes up to 20%. And if you're taking above 15,000 out of your retirement account early, meaning before you turn 70, you're going to be 30% tax on that, 30% penalty. Somebody says, is this advisable for bonuses which get taxed at 49%? Is what advisable? So,
Yeah, I'm trying to clarify in terms of either putting your money into an RRSP or TFSA. For instance, on my bonuses, I get taxed 49.9%. And thinking about it, I mean, the logical thing is to put into my RRSP to avoid that much taxing. Now, does it make sense based on, the description that you have here in terms of long-term investment to put these bonuses in my TFSA or my RRSP?
So you're saying that when you get the bonus, your tax is 49.
Literally taxed, yes, half of it.
It's taken up the top of the money.
Yes.
Yeah, so now you want to put in a TFSA because you don't want to pay tax on it as a second time.
Okay.
It just makes sense to put it in the TFSA because now they've taxed it. You put it in the TFSA, grows tax-free. When you take it out, it's tax-free. Every cent is tax-free. If you put in an RSP, when you go to take it out in retirement, they're going to tax you again.
Okay.
See, that's why I really have a hard time understanding RSPs. You save the tax when it's put in, and then you're taxed when you're older when you're not making more money. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I
Yeah.
said that. That's why I said that if you're going to end up in a lower tax bracket, and remember that every time you file your tax every year, you get that tax credit back. So it's not, the government did give you the benefit for saving in the RSP at the beginning. Because for every $1,000 you save in an RSP, when you go to file your taxes, you get about $350 to $400 back. Do you understand?
Mm.
Yeah, so they give you credit for putting money. They want to encourage us to save in an RSP. That's why we get that tax credit back when we file our taxes. But like she said, if she's already paid almost 50% tax on a bonus or a dividend, why put it in an RRSP? Because you're still going to be taxed when you take it out again. I would just
Pastor Lola,
say, yes.
I wanted to say, I'm not sure about Tosin how your workplace works, but my husband also gets like a profit share at the end of the fiscal year. And his workplace has it set up that he can have it immediately transferred to RRSP, so it doesn't get taxed.
Ah,
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So now
Yes.
I'm
So
trying
if
to
you
say,
do
does
it
it
that
make
way,
sense?
yeah,
Yes.
if you do it that way and decide you're not touching the money, then
yes.
you keep all of your money that way.
That's beautiful. I
So
love that.
that's my question. That's
Right.
my
Yeah.
So do
question.
you have that kind of a setup
Yeah,
that you?
so the setup with my company is you can transfer 80% of your total bonus into your RRSP or TFSA, whichever you like.
So then they won't take the 49% if you put it in the
If it
R.
goes into the RRSP, they wouldn't
Yeah,
tax it
right.
at
But if
all.
you put it in the TFSA, they will tax it.
They will tax it the 49.9. And so that's
Right.
why I was asking, does it make sense if eventually you're going to withdraw if you're in a higher tax bracket down the line?
So then the option is up to you. You could do
Mm,
a mix of both, which is what I like. I like the mix of both because most likely you're going to be in a higher tax bracket by the time you retire. Most likely. Most people have worked, they've saved, they've invested, they've grown their wealth. Most people end up in a higher tax bracket. So I would put some of it in a TFSA so that my money is going tax-free and I can withdraw it tax-free. That's what the rich do. They put a lot of their money in TFSA. They max out, and the thing with TFSA is you have that 7,000 limit a year. So just max it out if you can,
mm-hmm.
right? Then the rest you could put it in the TFSA. And the reason why the government's capped it at 7,000 is, of course, they don't want everybody just, not paying taxes on the growth of their investments. So max out the 7,000 for the year that you have room in your TFSA, and then put the rest in the RSP. Okay, thank you guys. I love that. That was a lovely, lovely learning moment for us. And good for you guys that have this bonus is coming in. Blessings are good. And God makes it so that when we are faithful in the little, he grows us. God loves management and he loves good stewards. To see us doing the right thing with the resources he's giving us, he loves it and he gives us even more. And that's why the Bible says, to them that have, he gives more. To them that have little, the little that they have will be taken away. Not that God is the one taking it away. It's just the mindset, the lifestyle is taking it away from us. And so we want to be mindful of those principles. Okay, so real estate investing, where do we stop here today or should I We don't have to do everything today. We could come back next month.
No, 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 no. Keep going.
Susie said, no, no, no. Okay, let me see if I can wrap this up in 5 minutes because it's already 8:24. So homeownership is one of the cornerstones of building your wealth. We all know that, but or if we don't, we should know that homeownership is the cornerstone of building one of the cornerstones of building your wealth. And so you don't want to be a forever renter. You want to find a way as soon as possible to own your own home. Now, active real estate investing can include home ownership, building your home or buying one that's built. It could be a fix and a flip. People do that. Buy a house that's a rundown, renovate, put some income into it. They fix it up and then they flip it and sell it. They don't hold on to it. They sell it within a short space of time. And the self-managed property rentals, those are all active real estate investing, meaning it means you're hands-on. You own it, you're managing it, and the costs and the management fees, everything is coming from you. So you know exactly what's going on. And that's why it's called active. So for this part, I would still say if you look at your net worth meaning everything you own minus everything you owe, that number they say is one of the biggest, most important numbers to track every year. Your net worth. Not so much, oh, all the money you have in your account. Everything you own minus everything you owe. That number should be ticking up every year. That means you're paying down your debts and you're increasing your investments. If everything you own, including your house, if the house is 90% of everything you own, that means all your investments are in the house. Then I would say start to think of how you can diversify your investments. Okay? So that you don't have too much riding on your value. The value in your home is the value in your home. You can't help that. And if the values in your home is going up and going up, that's a good thing, right? But I wouldn't keep putting money into that home, like doing rentals, fixing, buying this, keep doing all this for this house that's already up there in value. And think about your neighborhood. If you overinvest in your house and it's time to sell, you're not going to get the money you've put in, you're not going to get it back because you have to sell within your neighborhood. So even when you're doing rentals, be mindful of your neighborhood. Don't overinvest for where you're located. Same thing for rental property. If you have a rental property and you want to renovate or you want to do some work, pay attention to where you're located. Plus, if you are in a rental property market, be careful where you buy. I had a friend who recently was telling me about how they have their primary residence, right? But they wanted to buy a second home. And so they went to buy a home in a smaller city in Ontario here, where it's a smaller city, nothing going on there. It's like just a very quiet place. So they bought the house from a builder. So they were the first owners of the home. Now it's time to renew to get a mortgage for the house. The interest rates have now gone up since the time the builder sold them the house. Interest rates have gone up. So he was thinking, oh, this is a lot of carrying costs for me. So he said, okay, I'm going to put it on the market and rent it out as soon as possible. But do you know that he's been looking for a renter for over a year? Still hasn't found anybody to rent the house because why? He bought in a very tiny community. It's not even in a what do you call it? In a commuter belt where people are going towards Toronto or anything like that. It's just a tiny community. There's no university there. There's nothing happening. So think about all those things. If I buy a property in this place, who's going to rent from me? What's the potential? Who are the target audience for your investment? So that you're not in a place where you've spent all this money and you're not you're not recouping your cost and you're not growing your investment. Plus, you don't have that margin. If anything happens and your house is not rented, can you carry the cost of that property plus your primary residence? So that's why we talk about risk and reward when you go into real estate. Location is key, very key, very, very key. They always talk about real estate is location, location, location. Okay. Real estate investment trust, if you don't have the stomach for going out and buying a property as an investment, then you can invest in REITs, which are LLCs or companies that are all they do is buy commercial properties. They have huge malls, like the people that own Lime Ridge Mall. They own properties, apartment buildings, high rises. These are companies. All they do is buy real estate. So you buy a portion of their shares, and the yields are fantastic. Almost 6, some of them 8% yield on your shares, because they have to pay out 90% of everything they make every year, otherwise they get taxed. So they're giving you back all that dividend. And so it's a good way to, if you don't want to be, bogged down with, oh, I have a renter that's giving me a hard time, And the renter landlord relationship in Ontario right now is tough. It's really tough out there. A lot of people are moved. I have stories. I had a friend who rented out their home to someone who refused to pay for a whole year, and they couldn't even get what is the real estate, the board, the landlord board. They couldn't get an appointment to, yeah, they couldn't get an appointment to get their case heard for over a year. And these people just stayed there, didn't pay rent, all that, and they had to pay the mortgage plus pay their primary residence, the mortgage on that one too. So it left such a bad taste in their mouth. So that's one of the risks that are involved with being a renter. But God can help you navigate that as well, and just pray that God will send you the right kind of people if that's the direction you want to go into. And real estate syndications, I don't know if anyone have heard of crowdfunding. It's a way where you can invest a little bit of money in a pool of other investors who are coming together to buy big properties that you and I would never have the kind of money to buy. This crowdfunding allows you to own a little portion of that. The only negative part is your money is tied up for a certain number of years. So it's not liquid. If you're looking to get in and get out, it's not that kind of investment. You have to be patient, and also investigate and do your research with who you're investing with. Okay. All right. I think we've done enough today. Return on investment is great. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Any other questions? I think we had the poll. Okay, so results of the poll we took says 100% of us rank this well-being vehicles in order of importance. Okay, investment, 58% of us say it's the most important thing. Income is the most important thing for building wealth. Do you know your income is actually number one? Most of us say investment. But before you have an investment, you have to have an income. It is your income that allows you to start to build investments. So your income is usually the number one wealth building tool that you have. And that's why you don't want debt to steal your power to build wealth. Because if all your income is going to service debt, then that power to build wealth has been taken away from you. So keep that in mind. All right. And then obviously real estate is a powerful wealth building tool. Investments, a powerful wealth building tool. People leverage debt to build wealth, but it's very risky. And in one day you could lose everything if you use debt to build wealth. So very, very risky. Do you currently have a retirement investment account? 91% of us answered. 27% of us said yes. 73% of us said no. So I want to encourage us to get started. Like I said, it's not how much, it's how consistent. Most of those firms can get you started with $100 and you put it on auto and it's going into that investment account. You don't have all the time in the world. The runway, as we get older, the runway gets shorter. And if you don't start today, by the time you wake up and you say, oh, I want to do it, it's going to be too late. So time is of the essence. Let's get started today. The other question was, what types of investment accounts do you have? 57% of us says we have RSP. Nobody has a spousal one. 29% of us say TFSA, and 43% say other kind. Okay, good.
Oh, sorry.
Do you make an automatic monthly contribution towards your investing? 27% of us said yes, 73% of us say no. Okay, that's the key. Auto. Put it on auto. Okay. Put it on auto. Just let it go. Don't even think about it. Take it out of your brain, take it out of your heart. Just put it on auto. Okay? That's the trick.
And you recommended the best auto was of those four.
Which one?
The Questrade.
Oh, Questrade. Yeah, for me,
direct.
yeah.
Okay.
For me, I love Questrade the most.
Okay.
Then second would be CI Investing,
Okay.
and then Qtrade,
Two.
and then Wealth Simple. So I mean, Wealth Simple is pretty good too, actually, if you think about it.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
But number one, Questrade. Okay.
Yeah. What's your knowledge level when it comes to investing? 36% say I don't understand how investing works. 64% say I have a beginner level of knowledge about investing. I'm quite knowledgeable about investing. 0%. Okay. Well, thank you all for taking that poll. That's why we're on this platform. We're going to keep working at it. We're going to get better. This lady said, when you know better, do better. What's this lady that passed on? You said, when you know better, do better. So now that we know better, please, let's get to doing better. Well, I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. Any other questions before we call it an evening?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nicole, I'll get in touch with you later. Anybody else that wants to get in touch with me privately?
Okay, Pastor Lola, thank you.
You're welcome. God bless you all. Have a good evening. All right, I'm going to stop sharing now. I appreciate you all. Thank you, guys. Bye, Susie. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Cherise. Good night, everyone.